Hi, my name is Ria Pavia, and I am a director, writer, producer. I'm a spiritual gangster, and I'm an acting coach as well, and a mom. Yeah, a mom of three. I have twin boys who are 19 and a daughter who's 21. And in terms of my role in the entertainment industry, I've really jumped around quite a bit over the last 3 decades. And I love that our industry allows for that it's not like you do this and that's what you're going to be doing. It's been very not forgiving, but open and allowing. There's allowance for us, and especially me, to jump around. So, like I said, I was a casting director for a while. I was a manager, talent. And acting, voiceovers, all the things, and I love that there's no limit. But my primary focus of late and in the near future is directing. My mom encouraged me to audition for the role of a broom in The Sorcerer's Apprentice when we lived in Rochester, New York. I got it. I was a broom. That was my first role. And so it wasn't necessarily something that I thought of, but then once I played that broom with gusto, I got the bug. And then I ended up at Interlochen Arts Academy for high school. I was there for boarding school for 2 years. And then I was a theater, film, television major at UCLA. And so, yes, to answer your question, I started as the broom and then all bets were off. So my kids were at a Montessori school for several years, and the director of the school approached me, not literally a director, she's the owner of the school, and she approached me in the parking lot one day and said, "Do you want to direct our musical, our annual musical?" And I almost said, "I'm not a director." And then I thought, yes, and, sure. There is a quote about, if you're given an opportunity and you don't know if you can do it or not, just say yes and figure out a way to do it. I am really obliterating that, but you get the point. And this was an example of that. So I had never done anything like that in my life. I did it. It was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and it went so swimmingly. And I enjoyed the process so much that I went on to direct the next 12 musicals over in the coming years after that. And that really launched me into directing. Then that segued into acting coach, which segued into directing for film and television. Oh, there's no blueprint. And I tell people that all the time when I meet with people just getting started in the industry and like, how'd you do it? It's like, this is how I did it, but don't listen to me because you can go at it your way. There is no blueprint. And that's what I love the most about it. Oh, okay. So the segue from directing for the stage, when I came up in theater anyway, but directing for the stage to directing for film and television, I got a call from Collabo Productions, which is Kenya Barris's company, and they were looking for a dialogue coach, is what I was told, for a new television show, and that they heard I was the youth cast whisperer. I'm like, oh, I like that title very much. I'll take it. And this job was for a new television show in Los Angeles, and would I be able to do it? At the time, I was living in Orange County, California, which is a good hour and a half each way on a good day. But the job sounded intriguing, and I interviewed for it and then booked it. And I thought it was going to be kind of part-time or, some days would be full days. I was wrong. It turned out the first day, I think we worked 15 hours and the second day was 14 hours, something like that. And I realized, I should probably go to Target and buy some clothes because I'm staying up in LA during the week. Like, I really can't go back down to Orange County this fourth day of not sleeping and all of that. And I realized this is going to be my reality now. And by the way, loved it. Zero complaints, just kind of needed to change my mindset of this is actually a full-time job. And dialogue coach is a bit misleading because it's not like I was just helping with lines or running lines, that kind of thing. Remains really more of helping the actors find their motivation and or being a conduit between the director and the actors, really setting everyone up for success. So to your question, that was the segue into film and television, was applying what I learned and knew from directing actors for the stage to working closely with them for television. And then from there, because I was basically shadowing every director that ever came on our show, I was encouraged by the executive producers to direct a short film. You really should direct a short film because you should be directing. Guess what? Yes, and let's go make a short film, which I did. And I'm extremely proud of it. It's called Second Team, and we ended up running the festival circuit for a year and a half, won 16 awards, ended up at Cannes, and I landed a great management team as well as an agent, and then was accepted to the Sony directing program last year for 2022, and all the doors have opened, and it's been beautiful. Yes. So that's my very long story of how I went from theater to film and television.
That's so great. So I'm getting it now. The Second Team, it's about stand-ins.
It is. It's the stand-ins to the stars. Yes. And they, in my short film, are more compelling than the first team, the lead actors. And there's lots of drama in and around the second teamers. It's based on a true story that I heard about a film that was shooting in Alaska, that there was just so much drama with the stand-ins. So mine shines a light on the underbelly of this fictitious TV show called Two Millennial Girls. Well, it started out very methodical. I was given the name of a guru sort of in this world named Kimberly Browning, and she held my hand through the process and really helped me to target festivals that speak to the tone of my film. As my film was also LGBTQ centric, and female centric, and very diverse. So we really targeted those sort of festivals. Now, but then once we started winning awards, luckily people would come to me too. I would get waiver codes and that sort of thing. And then with Cannes, I did not submit. I got a call. So that was exciting. And that came from the Pasadena Film Festival, actually, apparently. Yeah. So it was a little both. It was a little of planning and then just kind of like, okay, let's go. And then Omeletto, the platform for short films, is where it lives now. And maybe we can provide the link here at the end of the video so that everybody can watch it. We are in the beginning stages of developing it to series as well. It is a proof of concept, but by a happy accident.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Series or film, we're not exactly sure which yet.
Start out as that.
Absolutely not. No, it was just going to be my calling card. Look what I can do, and I really lean into many different genres. So multicam, single cam. There's some indie in there. There's some horror in there. I do all the things. I have had many directors who have intentionally or unintentionally mentored me. The first one that comes to mind is Eric Dean Seaton. He directed several episodes of Grownish and really has been such an advocate for me, from sharing his shot lists to allowing me to work my own for his episodes and giving me feedback, to writing a recommendation letter to the Sony directing program and other programs that I had submitted to and was rejected from, but that's okay. Every rejection is closer to a win. So for sure him. Mary Lou Belli is a great human and an advocate. In fact, she introduced me to International Screenwriters Association and has been a wonderful mentor. She is what is her title for the Miss Pat show? Producing director, and she has given me a few exercises to shot list for her and given me feedback and encouragement and all the things. So she's another one. Pete Chapman, also Shiri Appleby. Oh my gosh, the list is so long. I've just had so many lovely. Oh, Todd Bierman, also great gentleman. They've all been generous with their time and their energy. With Second Team, we were running out of time as shoots are wont to do. We shot the whole thing in 2 days, and I had my video village, my fictitious video village, for the first day only. So I really had to get all of their reactions to things that hadn't been shot prior. So that was, a bit challenging. We did it. I was so proud of what we did. There was one shot that I really, really wanted, which was an overhead of my two leads tossling, like basically, I mean, not basically, they were fighting physically. Then we had a stunt double, not stunt double. We had a stunt expert for that. So there were no doubles. But we were almost going to have to punt that shot. And I'm so glad that I stuck to my guns. And I paid for it, meaning, we went into overtime, but it was worth it to me to get that shot because for me, it was everything. It's just to orient ourselves in the space and to be over the ladies and then come back in and get tighter. I'm very happy I got that. Now, if it was on someone else's dime, I would have punted an earlier shot in order to get that when I saw that we were running out of time. I would have probably lost my 2 shot. I know none of this makes sense because you haven't seen it yet, but to really stick to my guns in terms of what's important to me. And I know that, again, if it's someone else's dime, I don't always have that luxury, but maybe to let something else go in order to have that specialty shot that's clutch for me. When I've shadowed on shows as well. And then with the Sony directing program, we were given assignments to act as if we are working on the show, that we've been assigned a show. So I was assigned a 1-hour drama that I didn't really speak to me, to be perfectly honest with you. But it was a great exercise because let's say I am gifted an episode that doesn't speak to me. I will immerse myself, which is what I did. I watched every single episode. I researched ad nauseum. I barely slept. And not in an unhealthy way, but just in a let's get into this world. Let's get 100% into this world and prep. So that I guess. So how do I answer that question? I just keep saying acting as if, even if it is not in my bones, put it in your bones, Ria. Pretend you love the show. And by the way, the behavior follows because it came to be that I ended up adoring the show that I didn't start liking. I didn't start at the beginning. I wasn't very interested, but in the end, great. And you're a guest at their Thanksgiving dinner. That's what you are. So it's all about being a great guest and asking questions and getting to know the other guests or the people that live in the house. And that's what's vital. So when I was shadowing on the Goldbergs, I was there for 3 weeks. I was there for prep and then shooting and then post. And I feel like I know that show like the back of my hand at this point. So if and when they come to me, if it gets picked up for season 11, I'll be ready. So, and admittedly, I admitted to them too, I had never seen it before I came on board. But guess what? I watched every single episode for 10 years before I went on to the show. Yeah. Every single episode. I really love to immerse myself in a world. In fact, when the first season of Handmaid's Tale came out, I got really sick toward the end of the season, and I hadn't watched any episodes. So I was home in bed for a weekend. I watched every episode. By the time I was done, I literally thought I lived there in that world. I actually had to, pinch myself or whatever to get out of it because I have such a active imagination that I can put myself into any situation, and I think that helps as a director too. There are certain shots that some shows don't like. They may not like to live in tight singles. Maybe it's wider. A show like The Goldbergs feels sort of like a hybrid between multicam and single cam. And so, we got to speak to that. So I do like to ask of what is a no-no for you guys? What is a no-no? For instance, some of these shows have voiceovers, and when and someone looking right to camera, let's say. And when we come out of those, this is what I've learned in certain shows, we never see that person for real. I'm just giving you an arbitrary thing, but there's no-nos. And I like to find out about that. I like to talk to the DP to see, get the insight about what he or she, if they can walk the set with me and talk about, orientation and all that kind of thing. Of course, talk to the showrunners, the execs. I mean, look, it's so great that there's typically a tone meeting and you get to learn much of that there. And the showrunners will share with us the certain, yeses and nos and all of that. And then from there, I can ask questions. Yes, there's typically a tone meeting. And if for some reason a show doesn't have that, then I would conduct my own or compose my own list of questions and dive in from there. And then it's a conversation. You know, sometimes I'll have my list of questions and I hadn't thought of something or they hadn't thought of something, and, you know, conversation. I think table reads are vital to the process. One, so that we can, the cast and the creatives, the other creatives, because cast is creative as well, can all align and kind of feel each other's energy. That sounded so crunchy granola, but it's true. I mean, when we're shooting, you know, first of all, it's out of order. And second of all, you might not ever see one of the other characters, but it's part of the story. So I think it's a great unifying factor in the equation. Now, in this day and age, a lot of them are Zoom, and that's just how it goes. So it brings about some issues sometimes, but they're vital. I just, and I always insist upon them. In fact, for international screenwriters, the ISA, I'm going to start, we've already done one table read and we're going to start with another one. I think it's important before rehearsing just to, again, hear it, just hear the words. It's important to hear the words before getting up on your feet, in my strong opinion. Sometimes we will be without an actor or two just for logistical reasons, especially guest stars. Guest stars are not always at table reads. But yes, and they typically are Zoom. I haven't had an in-person table read in a few years. Yeah. That's wild. I know.
I assume that they'd be coming back by now.
Not on the shows that I work on, not yet. I hope so. Maybe this season. We have a Grounders season 6 starting next month, so I haven't asked anyone yet if they're in person, but I sure hope so. I'm so excited about The Last Queen's Painter because when I read the first page, and I'm going to just, be very transparent here. I saw Marie Antoinette. I saw that it was a historical type of piece, and there was just something that shut off in me because I'm just not a history buff, or maybe this is I should probably talk to my therapist about this. Just kidding, not really. However, by the end of the page, I saw that this was a very different piece and that it's not just some stiff kind of historical anything. It was quite the opposite. It was very accessible, very compelling. Characters brought me in, again, by the end of the first page. And then I was smitten. And I was a little bit limited on time, so I thought I was going to read half, and then when I do this other thing, I'll come back for the other half. No, I never got up from my seat. I read the entire thing. And what I really love about it is how present day it feels, even though it's not. And it reminds me of how Hamilton is, made that gentleman and all of the gentlemen in and around him compelling to people like myself who didn't know a thing about any of it. And now we all do, and maybe we're singing along. So that's what I feel about The Last Queen's Painter, is that I learned so much about this woman who painted Marie Antoinette in a time when that was impossible, seemingly impossible, and everyone in and around her. And I feel like there's something in each character that we can identify with, and that's rare.